Okay, this is a little video I'm making for somebody. Her name's Maybe. She's on a message board that I'm on. This is my little cramped photo studio set. I want to go over a couple different things. First of all, I think number one, you can go to Michael's Crafts, and they have really cheap paper. This is 48 inches wide. I made this whole frame out of PVC pipe, 3/4 inch PVC, and I needed to have something to hold my papers on without crinkling them. And this paper, there's photo paper you can buy, but it's kind of expensive. It's $30-something a roll delivered. It's thicker, but this is really thin paper. But the only thing is you need to have it somewhere where you can hang it so that you don't crinkle the middle of it. Because if you crinkle the middle of it, then you're going to get the crinkles in your photos. And I have black and I have white. Anyways, Michael's has these papers. It's in the kids department for poster. I think it's banner paper or poster paper, and they are $9 a roll, which is not bad compared to $37 a roll. And I think I got it on sale because I had a coupon, so it was $6 a roll. So I got both of these, the black and the white, 48 inches wide by 12 foot long, for $12. And then I built this little PVC pipe stand. It's basically it's all PVC parts. It's just a series of T's and straight parts. And I made two little feet. I put a weight on that end, a 20-pound weight, so it wouldn't move. And then here, I put these two bolts in here, and then the top one is longer than the bottom one because you want one paper to be over the other roll so you can roll it down. I just clamped them with these clamps I got from Home Depot, and you just clamp them. So basically, and then when you want to take a photo, you just basically what I do is I just pull it down very carefully, and then here this is a childhood desk. I use this. It's not wide enough, so I put a piece of reflective white plexiglass. This is good for if you want to have reflections in your photos. Then you use a piece of white plexiglass. You can get black plexiglass, white plexiglass, you can get clear, but I like to do either white or black. And if you put your piece of jewelry, like for example, I'm going to put a car on here, you're going to get a little reflection, like from the bottom. It'll give you a little more dramatic addition to your photos. And I use the white plexiglass, but for if you want to do just flat white, what you do is you carefully pull the paper down. I'm going to try to do this with one hand. And then you basically just drape the paper. Hold on. There you go. You drape the paper in a round shape, so it just drapes. And then the point is you don't want to have any sharp edges back here when your camera focuses. So when you use the flashes, you need to get external flashes. Then it bounces off of just this area that's not edged or anything. It's just it won't give you any shadows. And then you put your piece of jewelry on here like this. This is just like a little BW bug. And then you take photos like that. And then so this is the whole setup from far away. I have a couple of different stands. This is one stand. You don't need all this stuff. You should have a tripod, I think. And then you can get these speed lights. These are external flashes. And the company that I got, these are actually Canon, and they work with my Nikon. I'll show you that next. Okay, I have my camera. I took my camera out. I don't usually leave it on its tripod because I'm afraid of it falling in case someone knocks against it. But let me set my tripod up correctly. Now, I have a Nikon D80. It's a full-frame camera. And And this lens is kind of a long zoom. It's an older one. I bought it on eBay. You can buy a lot of lenses that are vintage that will work very nicely. And it's all metal. No matter what kind of camera you have, what's important is you should have an onboard flash. And then you should also invest in some speed lights if you're doing a lot of photography for your jewelry. And these are Neewer, Neewer. They're flashes that are compatible with Canon. So if I were to put this on the Nikon, it wouldn't work. But I'm using this in slave mode. There's either primary or there's slave. Slave mode means once the onboard flash flashes, it triggers. I set it to a mode where it triggers this flash and that flash over there simultaneously. So let me turn this on. Okay, it's firing up. Okay, now it's on. And then you can see it's S1 means it's slave mode. S2 is slave 2. And if you go back, it's slave N. So basically slave, master, and slave. So in other words, whenever this onboard flash flashes, this one will fire at the same time. So let me turn the other flash on. It's a little cluttered down here, but I don't have that much room. Alright. This one's firing up. Alright. Now, what you can do a couple of different things with your exposures. I'm doing this kind of crudely, not really the most scientific way, the most correct way, but I'm doing this all manual. I'm shooting in manual mode, so I'm making sure my exposure, the line in the camera is directly on the 0, which means the exposure, or right in the middle, so that the exposure is perfect. So I adjust my ISO, I adjust, my speed, and I adjust my f-stops all manually on that camera. But here, this is the other flash. One flash is there, one flash is here, and I have them situated where I have the reflector up on this one, and it's not going to give me direct light, but it's going to bounce off the ceiling. See, it's kind of like physics. The light will bounce off this white ceiling. I don't know if you have a white ceiling or not, but if you have a lower ceiling, it'll bounce and it'll soften the light. So you can go in here and see, like, it's S1 indicates slave 1, power. You can play around with these flashes with power. So it's firing at 100, it's firing at half of its power. So you can even do down to a quarter, down to an eighth, so you have to play with all these settings. So I'm going to leave it at half. And you can even change the width of the beam that it's firing. So you can go 35 and 50 millimeter. I think the larger the number, the wider the the wider the flash output. So I'm going to go to 35 millimeter. And then basically you just like I said, my zoom lens is pretty far. It's a 35 to 135 millimeter full frame lens. So I have to be pretty far away from the object. So if you're shooting jewelry, you'll have to, if you have a lens, like, depending on what lens you have, but at 35 to 135, I can't get the lens to focus any closer than this, pretty much. So then what I'll do, I'll put this in my mouth briefly. Okay, so I don't know if you can see in here, but it's pretty far away. And then if you just hit the shutter, it releases all the flashes. So the onboard flash will flash, and then these other two flashes will flash as well. So if I do it again, see, they all flash at once, and they're bouncing off the ceiling. So, and it's going right on the white paper. And I'm getting a pretty good exposure, and that's how you take photos of small things. You don't necessarily need a macro lens. It would help if you had one. You could do something different, but I'm just using a 35 to 135 zoom lens, And that is it. And then you basically position your flash one here and one over there. And then if you do them too close, you might get shadows on your object that you're taking photos of. If you bring the flashes farther away, and then you bounce them off the ceiling, even you soften the light, and then you might have to increase the power of the flash though. See, so then you might have to go maybe full power, right? And then we'll see what that looks like. And it's a little washed out, I have to see, but it's a little small too. So, but like I said, you have to play around with this. This is the general idea of how I have how I do my little small set. So like I said, I have a number of stands, two flash. I say at least two flashes, and these flashes are around $35 a piece, and they're Neewer. Don't get Canon. Don't get any name brand. Get Neewer that works with the camera you have. Like if you have a Nikon, get Neewer for Nikon or Neewer for Canon or whatever, because you'll save a lot of money, and these flashes are just as good as Nikon or Canon. And then what you do is you get a lot of rechargeable batteries. Like I said, I have tons of rechargeable batteries, and that's it.